We have neighborhoods today. I don't know how many real black communities we have today that we might have had before I was born, or the experience that I had growing up, coming from the Generation X era. And I think one of the things I notice is that when black men are passionate about what we believe in, what we feel, our thoughts, we are demonized in this society, right? Where a white man can speak in authority, and it's just that, oh, they're courageous, they're authority. And then there comes the stereotype of the angry black man. Mm-hmm. When as black people, when as black men, we have every goddamn right to be angry.
Exactly.
One, nobody listens to us. Two, we've paid a heavy damn price in this country. But let me just back up a little bit, let other people add their thoughts to the conversation and their thoughts about who they are, where they're trying to go, how they're seeing the world that we live in right now. So let me go over to the sister that's on the panel and let her speak first and go right on down the line. And Gab Talk Media, if you're out there, brother, I sent you a link to come on and join us. And I think I should send one to Nyla, said get her on board too with us. But go right ahead, sister, that's on. Give us your thoughts, who you are. What are your thoughts, sister?
Okay, well, I myself, I'm a black woman in America, of course. And so, my direction first and foremost, I am a Hebrew. So I look at the world through Hebrew eyes.
Okay.
It's not so much a religion, it's actually a way of life, more so, I would say. In my eyes, or in my opinion, Jesus, the so-called Jesus, was teaching a way of life, not a religion. So with that being said, my thing is separation. That is my goal. That's why I am part of the Mississippi campaign wholeheartedly and unapologetically. I do not like it. It was just like you were just speaking about the neighborhoods. Well, when I came up, I was born in 75. My grandmother took care of everybody on the block, and that's what she instilled with me. I mean, she took care of everybody. It did not matter. We were all black. We were all living together, and we took care of one another. And I don't see that at all. These kids, they were not afforded that right. I knew everybody on the block. I could run up and down that block without a problem. They knew my grandmother, and she took care of all of their youngins as well. And I just think that, as a Hebrew, once we get back to the law, statutes, and commandments, these people will be gone. Need to get back to the natural order of things, and that's where I'm at with it.
You know what I like that you said? You said that you see we call it religions, right? We try to box people, but I like the fact that you said that it's a lifestyle.
Right.
It's a way of life. And that's the difference. Now, I consider myself a spiritual person. I don't like to get into these terms. This is me, religion, because that's very loaded with a whole bunch of a lot of stuff in there. When you think about religion, I've heard people say that one of the dangerous things about religion is that they're organized and that it's part of social control, right? But the difference is everything has a form of some kind of social control. Hell, we're in America. We're already under social control. But lifestyle, when you look at Islam, lifestyle, to look at as part of your lifestyle, not just some kind of organized group that you meet together with, but it's how you think, eat, you wake up in the morning.
Right.
Your prayers, your meditation, how you treat one another.
Exactly.
I hear a lot of people, and I'm probably going to step on some toes here. I hear a lot of people on YouTube talking about religion and throwing around words like my sister, my brother, queen, all these different words. It doesn't mean a hill of beans if you don't live that which you're saying. So if I'm going to say my dear brothers or big brothers, then I should treat black men that I come in contact with respect, which is one of the reasons why on YouTube, I try to reach out to brothers and sisters. I don't care how big your channel is, how small your channel is, what the situation is on YouTube as it pertains. I want to reach out to people. And you will have people that will tell you, oh, you shouldn't be doing that. And I think that we should stop being scared of our own people. right? Even though we know that we got our people out here that mean us no good, we should get away from this ideology of don't reach out to your people. That's what our enemy wants us to do. They don't want us to connect, which is why in a few minutes, we're going to get static on this channel. We're going to get interference because we're talking real talk. Let me stop right there and let someone else add to the program. Go right ahead, brother. Let me see. We got two other brothers on here. Let's see. Brother, go ahead. Brother Guye
Nollywood.
Nollywood. Guye Nollywood. Come on, brother. Give us something.
Wow. Yeah, this is Guye Nollywood Jr. again. And I represent the RBG Nation, right? And the reason why, like, you know, I grew up as a Catholic. So, you know, I grew up with some values, you know, strong family values. I was born in DC. As you can see, I got my Washington Nationals. so you know, I gotta represent my teams, though, you know. So, you know, and I grew up in a, you know, and I'm just gonna tell you that I grew up in a all Black middle class neighborhood.
Okay.
You know, so I was taught from day one to stick with your own, right? So when I came, now I'm in New York. My parents been separated for over 25 years. They divorced now, but they've been separated they were still married, but they were separated for 25 years. My mother took me and my sister to New York. We've been living in Harlem. And of course, Harlem was the Mecca for Black folks. So again, and the neighborhood was still decent. You had your mom and pop stores or whatever. So this is what I've been used to. And the brother, like you said, brother, you know, it was a community. It was a community. You had the old folks looking after you. We had block parties. It was a beautiful thing. Now Harlem, of course, Black people didn't pull their money together. Now it's gentrified right now. I believe Columbia University took it over. So now you start seeing white people, you start seeing swirling and all the other stuff going on. So so I moved out of Harlem and went to Brooklyn into another Black neighborhood. And see, one thing about being an RBG, you got to be consistent. You know, our father, my teacher, Marcus Garvey, you know, he gave us our flag. Also, I'm also one of my other teachers is Malcolm X. You know, so I learned from my teachers, and also too, I'm studied comedic science. So, and I always go to my roots of civilization when Black people first gave us our laws of science, mathematics, and stuff like that. Now, when we talk about religion, we're talking about religion of the original language of religion means obligation. It means something that you hold, that you bond to. So my religion, I would say, is the RBG. You know, saying that's my religion. That's what I'm obligated to. My obligation is to be connected with my people, to show our people we don't need white people. We don't need their flag. We got our own flag. Let's you know, Marcus Garvey is one of our forefathers. You know, so you know, I just want to put that out there. So this is a way of life for me. This is a political, you know, sticking with your own man. The Black man should be with the Black woman and vice versa. You know, that's power. That's Black power. So that's what we need to. That's what I'm showing. That's what I want to show the people, that we can do without the white man's system. We can create our own system.
Now let me put this on the table. I was listening to Brother Maurice Muhammad talk about, in order to be able to fight against an enemy, we have to deal with the enemy that is within inside us. And one of the things that they have done a great job on us as Black people is they have worked on our fear. Now, when you look at the history of the Ku Klux Klan and why they wore the sheep, if I'm not mistaken, there's some of the folklore that comes out of that is the fact that white folk felt that black people had fear, and we feared ghosts. We feared the boogeyman. And so out of that ideology comes the hooded sheet that they put over their heads, because their thoughts was that black people were scared of things that go bump in the night. Now, that may be some folklore, that may not be true, may be true. But the one thing that I do notice is that whatever holds us back and always holds us back as a people is our fear. So if you say, hey, I want to start up a black business, I want to try something new, I want to venture out. Even if you tell black folks, hey, I want to go and travel, I'm going to go to Africa, for example. And the first thing they'll say, oh, you don't want to go over there. It's violence, and you'll get hurt. Why are you traveling? And it's like, shit, you can get shot here in America. As a black man going out your door, going into your apartment, and out of your apartment. So you'll have black people that will put the fear anytime you as a black person say, I want to try something and go outside of my comfort zone. And why do we have that problem? Who wants to tackle that? And we got Brother Gab Talk Media on with us. Love that, brother. Let's go.
If I could.
Let me Gab, before I go to you, brother, I gotta give respect to brother that's on the panel who's been waiting to speak. And then I'll go right over to you and I'll hit my man Lions Den as well. Go right ahead, brother.
All right, what's up? This is brother Bakari.
Brother Bakari.
I'm a 21st century Garveyite. This is something I fought for a very long time. Living this life, but I came out the womb having no choice because of the work that my mother and my father did. Mm-hmm. If you study Ayers, A-Y-E-R-S, Ayers case, Mississippi in 1975, when I was 3 years old, my father sued the state of Mississippi for educational equality. Wow. Not so we could go to school with white people, but so forced the state of Mississippi to give some of the money to black colleges that they owed him. He was dead when they won in 1997, but they did win, and he stood up to that beast, and that's what I come from. That's the cloth I'm cut from, and like I said, I tried to fight it because it was easier having fun than it is doing this, but I couldn't get away from it because this is how I was born. This is what I was raised to do, raised to be.
True. That is what we're talking about. That's what we're talking about. Brother, how has that upbringing, that experience, when you wake up every day and you see some of the unfortunate negative imagery of black people, the foolishness on television, even when you see some foolishness on YouTube and other social medias, coming from that type of cloth, that type of idea, that type of thinking, that belief system, that reality for you, do you think that the black community do you think that black people are done for?
I think we're almost gone. I think we're almost done for. I think we're going extinct, in all honesty, with the mulattoes, with us not loving and respecting one another, with us looking at one another and speaking to them. We really speak. We don't speak life and love into one another. We speak death into one another.
Now, is that because we are reinforcing the very racism that we talk about or we speak upon from our experiences when it comes to dealing with our enemy? Are we using self-hate as we're culturally conditioned in this society to see white as superior, black as inferior, and as a manifestation of that, we'll underestimate, undervalue, and marginalize each other, and white people do it to us? Is that where this comes from?
He fell off, brother Info.
Anybody can answer that. Anybody. Gab, anybody can answer that question.
Yeah. Peace. I just want to do this real quick because I'm not going to be on the panel long at all.
Oh,
I'm about to, me and the fam about to go. I just wanted to greet my brother Maurice Muhammad and his partners in his endeavor and what they want to do. I'm out of DC as well, Mosque number 4, from the early '90s. I wanted to greet my bro. He always did look familiar to me. I don't know if it just because he spent some time in DC or not, but but yeah, we might have passed each other once or twice, bro. Info, I appreciate you having the brother on the show and inviting me to be on the panel with such an esteemed panel. Lions, then shout out to you. I know that this will probably will benefit many in terms of understanding what the Muslims want. I think that the Brothers program is driving to the heart of what the Muslims want. And I think that through what he's doing, everybody will get an opportunity to see that it's not just about the Muslims as you know it, but about our people. That'll be the extent of my answers right now. I'm going to pause and get off and allow the rest of the panel to answer more in depth the question that you just asked.
Gab, Talk Media, before you go, what I have to do, I really wanted you a part of this discussion. What I'm going to do, if the brother will be more than willing to graciously get back with us, along with all these great Black people on here, we're going to have to do this again so that we can have your point of view on here. And I did send a link to Sister Nyla, and she may be busy too, but hopefully she can come on later. I got the Great Liberator. I sent him a link. He may be coming on. But if not, we're going to do this again, especially if the good folks that we got on here right now are comfortable with that. Because I told you, brother, I told you privately that when people tell you not to reach out to people and connect with other Black people, you gotta say that people that tell you these kind of things, Black people that tell you these kind of things, you gotta look at them side eye and say, I'm suspicious of them. Because if we don't do things like this, we would not be able to have these kind of discussions and connect with people like this, brothers and sisters like this, who really are doing something in the community. So that's where I'll leave you with that and everyone listening.
Oh yeah. No, I'm 100% in agreement, bro. We gotta see what all of our people have to offer. And that's whether you see yourself, especially if you see yourself as a leader and what it takes to be a leader in our community really begins with just loving our community. And so I love across the lines with very few barriers. There are some things that can disqualify me in terms of stepping to you as a brother or a sister, but those are few. I find more commonality. I intentionally go after the common bond that we all have as Black people, which is the struggle that we all have had to go through. And so I already recognize that we have blinders on. And so I'm not worried about what religion that you came through. I'm not worried about what neighborhood you came from. I'm not worried about how long you've been locked up. I'm not worried about any of the things that the victims of white supremacy have put us through. And so I'm always here to listen and to collaborate and figure out how I can play a role with with what I have to offer. Mm-hmm. And sometimes that's a little, sometimes that's a lot. All of us are in different situations. We set our lives up in many different ways. So sometimes our life permits us to play a strong role with a particular endeavor, and sometimes it does not. And we're a work in progress. That's what I consider myself, a work in progress. So the only reason I'm rushing, brother, because I'm with the fam. I gotta get out. And
okay.
That's why I couldn't stay. I would have loved to have done this to stay with this panel.
Okay. Well, let me just say this. Thank you for being here. Like I said, we're going to get you back on, myself, you, and the brothers and sisters on here. We're going to do it again. You know, if they want to, if they feel comfortable with us. Thank you, and me and you got to do some stuff together too.
Absolutely.
We got to do some more collaborations. Let me go ahead and give some
peace to my bros.
Thank you,
Peace, big brother.
thank you, big brother. Let me give a little love to Brother Brown, Wayman Brown, who gave me the super chat. Thank you, brother. And let me give some love to Six Figure Days, who gave some super chat as well. Let me thank everybody. Lions Den, could you go ahead and give some love to the chat room and ask any questions that you have, brother?
Yeah, I would go get shout out to Asun Ali, Sonia C's, Regina Davis, Robin the Girl Wonder, Raining Wombat, Adari Girl. We're also going to give shout out to, of course, Queen. I Know Who I Am, Niece W, Miss
Upon.
So what you say for everybody on the panel, that we as a people, we keep this white supremacy ideology going and alive. We give it energy, we give it legs, we give too much credit and credence to white people.
Most definitely. Most definitely. You know, it's because that you believe. When you believe in it, then you begin to perform certain actions by it, because that's what you believe in. And if you believe they are better, that what they got is the best, then you won't go out to even try to challenge them. You know, it's like the old saying that the white man's ice is colder, when in fact it is not.
Okay. Brother Bakari, if I'm saying his name correct. Are you there, brother?
Yes, you said it correct. I'm here.
Okay. You've been hearing what we've been talking about so far. What are your thoughts around the issue of white supremacy?
Well, I don't believe in white supremacy. I believe there's white power, and they flex their power in their muscle at all times. And because no one is superior to us, they have more power than us because they work as a unit. Throughout their problems, they still know how to work as a collective unit. And how do you meet power? You meet power with power, but we can't get that power because we don't work as a collective unit. And if I have time, can I give you an example of what I mean by them working as a collective unit, even though they have problems with one another?
Yes, go ahead.
The Irish were brought here as indentured servants, right? They were not slaves. I get tired of people saying that. They were indentured servants. And none of their children were born, when their children were not even born into servitude. But anyway, they had problems, right? Calling the cops pigs came from the Irish. So the Irish fought back. And how do they settle their problems to make sure the Irish stay cool with them on their team? Now, if you look and see spots in New York City, you can go see the fire department in whatever it is, the 3-leaf clover or the 4-leaf clover. You see it, letting you know that it's representing the Irish. And if you've ever seen a cop or a firefighter funeral, you see the people out in their kilts, blowing on their bagpipes. That's them working together collectively, even though they have problems, and the English, whoever, really don't even care about the Irish. What we have to do is to learn to do the same thing. And our power is going to be economic and right now political. But we have to learn to work as that collective unit so we can create power for ourselves. Because I don't believe in white supremacy, but there is white power. And like I said, they flex it all the time.
Right. Telling the truth, brother. I can't deny that. Let's go over brother Nolly. What's going on? Give us some of your thoughts, brother.
Well, I do believe what Brother Bakari has said. White supremacy is just it's a belief because they have power. This is something they made up. But all this came from from this Greek ruler. Well, I won't say ruler, but from what's his name, Ptolemy. If Ptolemy, if I'm pronouncing his name right, and all that came from when he took over Egypt, and he wanted to become a god, just like the black man and black woman, because he was jealous, because we was rulers of the planet. So so this goes further than just 500 years ago, 600 years ago. So white people always been jealous of us. This is they think, and it's like I said, because of their power, we was I guess we was isolated from what our history, what I'm saying, because they're afraid of competition. You know what I'm saying? Because once their power is gone, they'll go right back into the caves where they came from. So I think that's what it is. It's because they do have power, and there's the reason why they came up with this. Oh, we're better than you, but their power wasn't. They got it through a lot of dishonesty, slavery. It was basically by the gun. You forcing people to do things they not naturally want to do. So so it's not legit. With us, it's natural. We did things the right way. We created language. We created music. It was fun, and people learned. Every other race learned from us. White people took it. This is the reason why they created their own. The reason why they got their gods, like you got the Greeks and the Romans. All that came from Africa, and they just changed it up and they made it to a religion. With us, it was something that we learned from, and we created. It was that's what we call it, spirituality, where we took something and we would say we made it to a god and say, okay, it was more like an inspiration. We know these gods wasn't real, but we looked at it as more of an inspiration. So white supremacy is their belief. That's not their belief, but we're there but it does make us better because we can easily challenge that.
Now, Neely Fuller Jr. makes statements about if black people could get on a code, and we hear this a lot now, where we have constructive conversation with each other that leads to solutions, because as men, as black people, our job, particularly as men, is that we're on the earth, we're on the planet to solve problems, to build things, to cultivate our community, right? These are some of the things he talks about. And that if we could get on that type of code where we communicate with each other properly, we don't do things to sort of throw each other under the bus, that in his philosophy, that could really throw a wrench in this thing called white supremacy, right? And personally, on my job, I have had experiences where black men have tried to throw me under the bus. And then when I've talked about this on many of these airwaves, and then when I observe Asians, Filipinos, Mexicans, other ethnic groups, I've seen them lie for each other, cheat and steal for each other. They'll pass the application to each other to get the damn job. And in some cases, some of us as black people are just happy to have the job, happy to be the only one. And we tend to fight against each other. In some cases, not all. Is this what people would say? Some people would say, oh, that's part of white supremacy because we're reinforcing it. What are your thoughts on that? Because if white supremacy doesn't really exist, it doesn't really exist as we think it is. When black people do things that are quote unquote off code against each other, then what is that? Is it not reinforcing this white ideology, white supremacist ideology? Or if it is not that, then what is it? That's my question.
I was going to answer that. I think what it is they got how you said, they're more accepted into believing that white people are powerful people. You got black people that actually think that white people are gods because of the Jesus and because of the images that they see. Remember, we're visual people.
Mm-hmm.
We're visual people. Look at the movies. Everything, all the movies, you got the great white king and queens. So of course, black people, when they see a movie with themselves, they see them shackled, they slaves, they get whipped. So you see that 100 times. You being called the N-word 100 times in these movies. Then you look at the black on black gang movies. You see nothing but black people getting killed for one another, and you see how the women being treated. You know, we all grew up in that era where we thought our people wasn't nothing. And this is something that, you know, this is what, because white people controls the media. When we get control of the media, we can bring our greatness. But here's the thing, we're gonna bring the truth, because even when white people, when they talk, when you see movies like Troy and all this, they don't tell you the ugly side of their history. They don't tell you how they eat people. They're not going to tell you how they got into homosexuality. They're not going to tell you how they have sex with animals, because all that's part of their culture. So they clean it
up. Let me add to what you're saying, brother. And also, they turn their bad guys into good guys. Jesse James, Dillinger, they turn their bad guys who kill people, and they make movies out of them. They make them out to be heroes. Uninteresting, isn't it? Interesting. Let me slide it over. Brother Lionsden, is everything well, brother?
Everything's good, Info.
Okay. Let me go to you and get your thoughts on this issue before I go over to Brother Maurice Muhammad. He's our guest of honor here. I've got to get back to this, brother. Go right ahead, Info. I mean, I'm saying my own name. I'm losing my mind.
Well, okay.
I'm losing my mind. Go right ahead.
All right, Info. I think what's going on is that the black community is of itself know that there's no such thing as white supremacy. Let's keep it real. We all know about there's a part that says white power though, but not white supremacy. So what we're seeing is that, you know, the thing is that we have, people say it's culturally conditioned. The only problem with that is that we as black in the black community, we have tried to find ourselves, but since slavery time, the white man is already taking our culture away from us. We don't know our names. We don't know where we're originally from, who our family is. They're taking away our culture. And so we're just basically here in America, like we're basically sort of like we're slaves, and they just put slave names. And that's the problem. We don't know our true culture. You know, the Chinese have their culture. The Indians, the East Indians have their culture. You basically got the Japanese know their culture. But the thing is that we don't know our own culture, because at the time, you know, the slave master is just take away our names, our cultures, everything. So we don't really know who we really are. So that's the thing with us, that we ourselves basically, especially now that I agree with the brother earlier to say we definitely need to separate, because obviously that the white man in their mind think that, oh, we command, we control what we do, what we're saying. But at the end of the day, we as black people control what we do or what we're saying.
Okay. Before I go over to Brother Muhammad, let me play this last sound bite from Neely Fuller Jr. Here it goes.
Anything having to do with black people, the white supremacists are involved. I mean, otherwise there would be no such thing as white supremacy. You know, if black people were just walking around, I mean, with nothing affecting them, you know, in economics, in education, in entertainment, any of the 9 areas of activity, labor, law, politics, religion, sex, war, if black people weren't affected by the system of white supremacy, it would supremacy. So the hypothesis is, the conclusion has to be based on logic and evidence. Everything that black people do, every move that they make anywhere on this planet called Earth, is dominated by the system of white supremacy. That's what it's designed to do. Dominate all of the affairs of people classified as non-white.
Of white power. They're looking to enforce the control of their master. So that's why the nigger and the coon is dangerous to us and to our way of life, because they know if we are successful, then that puts an end to their vision, because their vision is tied up in what white people can do.
Okay.
And that's what makes us a threat to them.
Okay, I got to ask you this. I got a couple other questions I need to ask, but I got to ask you this. We live in a society today where we've got, and I got to have the sister speak to this too. We live in a society today where some of us as black people have a false sense of diversity. Let me tell you something. I don't like the term diversity. I don't like the term people of color. Because when you say people of color, I say to myself, well, who the hell are you talking about? Because the last time I checked, black folks are the ones getting the damn billy clubs upside their head. I don't see all these other groups. So I don't like when I see these pastoralized, these laid back to the side political Negroes on television who act like they speak for you and me, getting on the television screen, talking about, well, people of color, black people and brown people getting, I never in my life have heard, now maybe I'm naive, I've never heard brown people or Latino people, when they talk about their issues, they talk about themselves. They don't include, well, you know, black people too. But black people, we always want to include other people in our situations. And at the end of the day, they don't even come to our rescue when we're catching hell. But then they say, oh, support the DACA. Support us. We're all brothers and sisters. And the last time I checked, and I did a video on this, the Mexican mafia, and I know this personally because I deal with young brothers in the prison system. They got a green light on us to kill black people, especially in Los Angeles where they're bonfiring black people, pushing us out of neighborhoods that we've lived in because they want to take it over for the drug trade and they believe California belongs to them. And I haven't seen not one of these black politicians come out and say, we are concerned about how black people in California are being killed. Black people are homeless in California. Black people are becoming a non-factor in California, but nobody talks about it. So my question to you is that too many black men in particular, black people, we equate sexual access to other women as equality. So if I can lay up with a woman of another race, white, Latino, whatever, we think our sexual access to these other women represents equality. You know, and we know that black men were hung like fruit on trees for being with white women. But today, people see that as equality. Just because you see kids on MTV bumping their asses together to rap music, that doesn't equate to equality today. And a lot of people don't even realize, especially in the millennial generation, that MTV was one of the most racist channels on television. But I keep going on and on. Let me
Women, you don't get anything of substance. You're actually aborting your own growth to the God that you can be. But because you don't have that black woman, you got this imposter. So you'll never be who you really should be in life.
But I have to add this before I go to the sister. This is my thing. This is my take. While we critique Phil because of who he's with, and I heard everybody on YouTube give their critique, whether I agree with it or not, this is my point. Why do we give a pass to the black celebrities like a Kanye West who comes out and shucks and jives us? He's married to a woman who has been a company, she's been a public whore, okay? Runs around with every black man that she can get her hands on that has money. He marries her, impregnates her, gets up and says everything that black men who don't have his celebrity status have been saying. And while he says it, you'll have the black Republicans or the black conservatives will say to black men who have spoken upon this, oh, stop whining, stop crying, pull your bootstraps up and be a part of society. Don't worry about black issues or black history. But as soon as Kanye West dons the Make America Great Again hat, speaks all the talking points they want to hear, he gets praised. And you'll have black folks that'll say, wait a minute, he could make some change for us. But yet he's got a woman on his arm who is a proven, documented whore.
Mm-hmm.
And yet we're willing to accept him because he's a celebrity who may or may not have mental health issues. I have my thoughts about it because I work in mental health. So my question is, why do we give this Negro a pass while jumping on someone on YouTube who you may not agree with his choice of woman, but if you look at his track record in terms of material that he puts out, has it or has it not been helpful to informing black people of issues? While at the same time, we got Kanye West jumping around on tables at Apple computers. Then he turns around and tells you and me, which is the okie doke, oh, I've been used. At the same time, he's a celebrity. His whole job is to use us, use our resources to promote his next album or next venture. Why do we distinguish between the two? And that's a personal problem I have because I'm willing to forgive and work with a brother if I judge him by the content of his character based on what he has done versus someone when I say, wow, okay, he picked this kind of woman. She's a whore, but we give him a pass. Because he can sing and dance. And I, frankly, brother, am tired of black folks that sing and dance. That's just my opinion.
Yes.
Okay. Let me say this. I agree with you that we need to always examine what people are in something for. When I came to YouTube, my simple mission was to be informative. I wanted to have a voice. I did not like what I was seeing on alphabet media. And I told folks that I don't want to change who I am, no matter how big or small my channel grows to. I'm still trying to maintain that. People may give me super chat, people may whatever people give me, I'm not going to get on here and bang on the table and say, give me. If people give me anything, I'm going to put it back into the program and I'm going to show you receipts. I'm going to say, here's a microphone. You guys made this possible. But am I going to get on here and go, give me? No, because I know that everyone works hard for their money. I certainly work. I certainly can buy my own equipment. And that's the facts. I'm never going to browbeat people for anything. So I agree. You have to look at people's motives. But the thing that I have to keep coming back to on this particular topic is that we still give black people of celebrity status, we still give them a break when they engage in fuckery. And I have to ask myself, why? Well, we know why. We love celebrity. For whatever reason, we like symbolism. I think that people can see phony from real if they're really honest with themselves. And I personally did not like some of the things that were happening towards Phil. I've talked to Phil. I was on this show. So when all this all happened, I was on this show. So I was like, wow, and I personally kind of felt I didn't like seeing black people sort of coming down on a black man for the reasons that it was done on a platform that pretty much, is run and operated by white folks. Let's be honest. And I just didn't like seeing black folks come down on each other. And I know it's necessary sometimes because we have to keep each other in check. But I didn't like to see it personally because as much as we talk about our enemy, we still seem to have an extra courage of extra spinach when it comes to talking about each other. That's just my opinion. Let me just, if you don't know, Brother Muhammad and everybody listening, this is what I do. And I know people probably hear me say this, and they probably tired of hearing me say this. I don't care. You're going to hear me say this. I work in mental health. I'm a rehab therapist, and I deal with brothers in the prison system. And I believe that we as Black people, let me give you a little secret here. Let me come closer. We got to start infiltrating this system. I see myself as an infiltrator because I do groups privately with these guys. And when I do my group therapy with these guys, I'm talking to them about stuff that we talk about. I'm telling them, don't come back to this system. This system is set up against you. I'm giving them materials to read that empower them. I'm talking to young brothers, 21 years old, who I'm telling them when they go to lifers meetings that we have, the lifers are telling them, if you do this, young man, you're going to be in here like me. Like me. And what bothers me on YouTube is that when I'm on a panel and I've got brothers on the panel telling me about, well, you need to talking all this talk. As soon as I ask them, brother, by the way, what are you doing in the community? Do you mentor? Do you work with kids? You're a part of an organization? What are you doing?
Right.
I'm not doing anything. I don't want to be a cleanup man. And then I say to myself, in my back of my mind, this sucker's not qualified to be talking to me about any damn thing. So I'm saying this. I ain't the baddest brother. I'm probably not the most, I'm not running a big organization, but I do what I can in my individual community to help brothers in the prison system. Then outside of that, in my history, I have been involved with youth ever since I was in my college years, from my early 20s, and even in my teens, working in the community centers, working with our youth, trying to make a better day for them. I'm proud. I'm not saying that you got to go to college. You got trades, you got other skills you can go into creating your own business. But I am very proud of the fact that I have assisted in sending young Black males and young ladies to college or trade school through the mentorship and organizations that I've been involved with. I'm proud of that. So if YouTube was to say, we're getting rid of all Black folks tomorrow, or YouTube is closing down tomorrow, I'm not going to boo-hoo and cry, oh, YouTube is leaving, because I'll continue doing what I already do.
Exactly.
So when you hear Black people on YouTube crying about, oh, YouTube's going to leave us, you got to look at them with a side eye. Now, check this out. I know we're getting off track here. I got to say this. I support Black Junction TV. I talked to Brother Youssef. I know Brother Youssef, had a great interview with him. I get on channels with brothers and I say, how many of you are supporting Brother Youssef? We cry about, if we had Black this and Black this as support, right? I'd give that brother $10 every month to support his platform. His platform is going through its growing pains, but it's a shame to me that Black people are not supporting him wholesale as we do YouTube as much as we should. Now, I know there's folks that may have their reasons why they don't. Okay, that's your reason. But my thing is, why, and this is the question for everybody, why do we cry about needing Black businesses, and when we have them, we don't support them? Sister, you've been listening to my rhetoric. Go ahead and speak.
Well, I mean, we've been conditioned to hate our own. That's the only explanation I would think. You know, that's what it is. I mean, once that integration, that was just like, that was the kill shot right there. Because we haven't been able to support one another since. I mean, what I heard someone say we pulled off like the biggest boycott in like history. Boycotting ourselves. Everyone spends with their own except for us. I don't understand. And I mean, I have Black Junction TV. I mean, it is a little glitchy, but you know, I'll stick with it and you know, hopefully it'll get better. I'm not too sure.
You know why it is what it is? When I interviewed him, do you know that Black Junction TV is completely owned Black? There is no corporate money coming in.
Ah,
So that's why everything on there is taking slower, because
right.
this brother is doing this with the money. Now, he did a video recently. Brother Youssef is making no money off of, he's made no profit off of Black Junction TV. There's no profit being made. His
Really?
business partner has kind of stepped down, but is still taking a involved with the channel, with the program, but is not taking as much of an active involved. It's him and a sister. And I interviewed him. I said, when are you going to get live streaming going? And he says, we want to get the live streaming going. It's
Right.
going to take a while because of the bandwidth that you need and the fact that I'm operating this without any outside money. And if he brings in corporate money from white people, yeah, Black Junction TV will start buzzing up. But guess what? If people invest in it, now they can control the narrative in which we speak. And Brother Youssef says he does not want to censor his people. So this is the question. We've got to be patient with his platform. Now, if it doesn't work out, it doesn't work out, but it won't be without our support. So we have to understand that. But when white people make platforms, we'll take all the shit off of them that we want, right? YouTube will tell us we're flagging your channel. YouTube will tell us, oh, we're not going to monetize that if you want monetization. YouTube will tell us you can't say this. And what do we do as Black people when we get kicked off of YouTube? We keep coming back to Master. Oh, Master, let me in the door. You shut my channel down. I'm coming back. Because why? We're invested in YouTube. Why? Because Black people put YouTube on the map. Why can't we put Black Junction TV on the map? Why can't we be patient with a Black man? We tend to hate ourselves. And that's why Black businesses sometimes don't survive, because we're not willing to be patient with them. Black people, I argue the point that some of us are not patient. I'm certainly glad, because I've been on other streams and I've asked that question of my own people. And guess what? You can hear a rat pissing on cotton. Nobody says that. Let me go over to Brother Guye Nollywood. What are your thoughts, brother, about these issues that we just spoke of? What are your thoughts? Brother.
I got my mic on.
Go ahead. I know you've been waiting patiently. I want everybody to speak.
Well, first of all, I want to talk about the Kanye. You know, you was talking about the Black celebrities and all that.
Go right ahead.
First of all, you know, these celebrities that marry outside their race and stuff like that, they do try to speak on Black issues, and they do try to speak for Black people, like Kanye and all these other guys. Like you got Kanye West, you got what's his name, Shannon Sharp, and all these other people who's married white women, and vice versa. So you know, I don't. Once I find out, see, that's what I'm saying. Black people, when we listen to other Black people, we have to, whether they're celebrities or non-celebrities, we have to check their background. You know, we have to do a really thorough background check before we get involved into what they're saying. Because Kanye don't speak for me. He don't represent me personally. Because number one, he is married to a Caucasian whore, I should say, and Shannon Sharp. I mean, I can go on and on. So, but these people, these celebrities, they do, you know, speak for Black issues. I don't know about that Phil guy too much. I've seen him, and I've probably watched a little bit of his show, but I never really know anything about him. But I like to see, what I do is that I do background checks on people. I find out, you know, who they with, you know, are they solid Black people? You know, Tommy Sotomayor, I don't know if you're familiar with him, but he was another one that talked against Black women while he was with a white woman. And he said a lot of filthy things about Black women. And he was another person to talk about a lot of Black issues and, you know, pretty much putting Black people down pretty much. But he's doing that while he's with a Caucasian woman. And that was my beef with Tommy Sotomayor, you know. And even when he said that he wasn't going to do it, he did it anyway. So I lose a lot of respect about these black people like Kanye's and all these celebrities that talks about our issues, knowing they haven't done nothing to better our situation, you know. So these people are comfortable living white, but at the same time they think they're doing some sort of justice by talking about black issues. So I don't. To me, those people are not my people. And about the black businesses part, we have to be very clear how a business should run. Number one, it has to be convenient. That's number one. You know, I don't think, you know, I mean, you got a lot of white other business, they're very convenient. You know, a lot of people can't, you know, some people don't want to travel far to go all the way to support a black business. Somebody want to just step out their house and it's a black business right there and there. So it has to be convenient, number one. And number two, you know, I'm not saying all black businesses are like that, but you got some black people that when they think that because they have a business, they think you're obligated to support them. You know, they have this attitude, they come up with this attitude, you know. So, you know, where that if you go to someone who's non-black and they treat you with respect and kindness, so you could support them, but then you go to a black business and they're giving you attitude and all this other stuff, you know. So yeah, you know, so those are the two things that for black business will crumble. As what I would say, that's one of the things that will black people crumble because it's conveniency and giving people respect and kindness. So, and that's, you know, I mean, it's more than just you know, and also too, we have to be competitive. If we're gonna have businesses, we have to be competitive. We can't put our prices too high and say, you know, support us. But in the meantime, the yellow man, his prices, he's selling the same products and his prices are cheaper. So we have to be very competitive when we do business.
Okay. We're going to build our own reality right here. So that's something that we have to live each day, and we get stronger in it as we continue to live it.
Guye Nollywood, same question.
Repeat that question again. I just want to have a clear understanding of your question.
Okay. My question to the panel is, what can our black people do as a community so that the enemy will not interfere with our culture and what we're saying? What can black people do to come together as a community?
Well, number one, we have to be on the same page. That's number one. We have to be on the same page as far as group economics and group politics. And once we know, and we have to know who our enemy is. That's another thing. We have to study our enemy. Because in this country, matter of fact, this is global. I'm not going to even say in this country, this is global. It's every race for itself. So once we master that, and once we say, okay, yellow people over there, they doing their thing, and we have to be part of the game. We behind in the game. It's like a race. You know, we way behind. We struggling. So we have to catch up. You know, education, first of all, for one thing, we have to force the school system. We have to demand our history because we're studying everybody else's history except ours. That's number one. So we have to be properly educated through our history. We gotta represent our heroes and get their greatness. So we always got to be on the same page. This is a psychological warfare. It's more than physical. This is a psychological warfare that we're dealing with. And once we got that part, then we can come together and we can establish economic power. We can start putting our money together. We got to start checking these churches. These churches, they said, did you know that across the board in America, that black churches has almost at least a quarter, that collects $250 million. I'm talking about collectively, over $1 billion. All these black churches, and that's including the mega churches. Okay, so you mean to tell me we have the power, we have that economic power, but it's all this selfishness going on. I got mine, you go get yours. We got to stop thinking that. But we have to be educated first to realize what we're doing is wrong. So that's the thing. We're not properly educated. Everybody else is educated. That's why you got the Chinatown. That's why you have Little Italy. Everybody else is on board except us. So we got to be on the same page.
Sister Yah, your thoughts?
Yeah, I mean, I agree with both Brother Muhammad and Brother Guy. You know, for me, myself, you know, I believe that we need to like separate completely. Like we need to keep that element out, because for me, you know, I look at some black people, you know, they've taken up the way of white people. They have white people behaviors, you know, so we don't, that's not normal for us. That's not where we come from. So that's not something that those aren't behaviors that we partake in. It's not who we are. So, you know, they are a big part of the problem. And we can't begin to heal our mentality if we're still living up under them, working for them. You know, we have to completely separate from these people. That's the only answer for me. You know, I believe in cutting out the sickness completely and entirely. You know, so you start with them and then we can, you know, get rid of them and then let's begin to heal ourselves. And, you know, for the ones who want to remain out here with the enemy, that's fine. They can remain, but you'll never have any peace. So that's how I feel about that.
Make another one the next hour, and they get comfortable with winning. Then they're ready to move it to the next step and then move it to the next step. But this is the phase that we're in because battle is everywhere around us. Thank you for allowing me to add that.
Can I say something real quick?
Go ahead.
And this is something that to add on what my brother Maurice said, which he made an excellent point, that we never compromise of anything because nobody compromised with us, so we should not compromise. But this also too, Maurice had something about the whole Mississippi thing, which when he was talking about before, he was talking about setting rules, which is when we do establish a strong community, not neighborhood, a community, and then it didn't come from a town, then it take over a state. We will get a lot of people will start to recognize us because we're not being recognized. That's the problem. But I'm gonna quote something that what Marcus Garvey has said. He said, "A race without authority and power is a race without respect." So we have to understand that we have to have authority. And this goes what you had said, Brother Maurice, about setting certain rules.
Go ahead.
Go ahead with that truth. That's truth, brother.
Okay? And once we set our rules, then we got the power. Then we're going to be recognized as a people. We're not being recognized because people don't take us seriously because we don't have any power. We don't. But this we need to go first. But like I said, we need to get the education, study who we are, and once we do that, once we're on the same page, then we can get the economic power, and then we can go full force. Because people respect money. At the end of the day, this world respect money because money is the power. And once we have that, and I'm talking about collectively, we're not talking about individually. We're talking about collective power. When you look at Chinatown, they have a collective power. When you look at Little Italy, they have a collective power. And remind you, these people are connected to a continent. They're connected to land. While we talking about hating us and hating Africa, we are hating the resources that everybody else is taking over there.
Exactly.
And then you want to know why people don't respect us? You want to know why we don't have no businesses? You know why we have to abide by their fucking education?
Mm-hmm.
Because we do it. Sometimes we do it injustice to ourselves too.
That's right.
And I'm not saying we get influenced by the white, but I guess the white powers that be. I'm not gonna lie. Yes, we do get influenced because we think the grass is greener. But this is the reason why education and who we are, like you said, Brother Maurice, is very important.
Mm-hmm.
And you gotta love your people. You gotta pick race first.
That's right.
And once you do that, then we're gonna be no joke.
That's right.
That's all I gotta say, man.
My mic and screen. But I'm gonna tell you something. You're absolutely right. This is an example of lack of respect for us. And part of, I believe, this disrespect for us as a people is the fact that other groups of people come to this country and they observe us. And if they see that we don't have respect for ourselves, for our own women, and towards each other as a group, how do we expect them to have respect for us? Now, I was on Nyla Says channel one night, and I heard brothers and a sister talking about back in the day, these Korean-owned beauty shops coming into our community, they would have been burnt down. They would not be standing there. This is the question. Other than the fact that we may want to protest these stores, and we got sisters that may still go to these stores, when we know that they're doing this to us, we should not be giving them our money.
That's right.
And as a matter of fact, the store shouldn't even be standing anymore.
Mm-hmm.
Matter of fact, on Nyla's program, she was saying, what about black men stepping in and saying, we'll create the damn black beauty store for you. We'll sell you your goddamn weaves if that's what you want, even though some of us may not like weaves. But that's not the point. We should be the ones doing what we did when I was a kid, when most black beauty supply stores were owned by black people. We allowed the Koreans to come in, steal the business right under us, then turn around and sell us our own products, disrespect our women, and then we go back in their store. And we as black men in these communities, we shouldn't allow the store to even be standing. It should be burned to the ground.
That's right.
That's one of the things that we were talking about when I was on the sister show. And I have to say, it's true.
Mm-hmm.
The store should not even be standing anymore. Not one dime should be spent in the store because it shouldn't even exist anymore. Mm-hmm. And man, you got my mind. Look, I got to. Ooh, you're telling it, man. I tell you. What do you think, sister, about that? What the brother just said, what Brother Muhammad just said.
Oh, yeah. Oh, no, I completely agree with that. I'm big on that. We need our men to stand up. It starts with y'all. It really does. I mean, we're going to always follow what you do because, most of us, we only want to deal with a black man. We don't want to go outside of the race. So, yeah, we're waiting on you guys. It's going to start with y'all. Of course, they felt like, oh, yeah, we can do whatever we want to black men's women because they don't even mess with them. They mess with Becky.
Okay. Let me bring up a very unpopular question to you, sister. I've been on streams. Black men within the manosphere right now have been bringing these issues up. What are your thoughts, and to everybody on the panel, about this notion that the black community is in the condition that it's in primarily because you have black women who make poor decisions and the men that they choose to lay down with, choose to have in their life. And as a byproduct of that, when you have a matriarch instead of a patriarch system, where you have women pretty much running the community, raising young boys to be young men, young girls in a household who are not getting a proper image of a black man, that is somehow impacting and contributing to the fuckery and the destruction of the black community. And I say again, we don't have black communities anymore. We just have neighborhoods that we occupy. What are your thoughts about that? Because you do have brothers on YouTube and that have that type of thought. That's what's going on. I have my thoughts too, because I think a man not being in the community in some cases and letting these communities be run by men that are not real men, it does impact the community. What are your thoughts? It's a very unpopular conversation to have.
It's true.
Yeah, it is. And well, oof, yeah, that's okay. So yeah, I mean, sometimes we make bad choices in men. This is true. We can't even debate that. That has some truth to it. But then too, we're all grown, and even with the man that she chose, more than likely, yeah, he knows better. He knows he doesn't want to be with her, or whatever the case may be, at that time. So as opposed to him actually being a man and correcting this woman, which is what he's supposed to do, because he is the leader in the community, as opposed to correcting her, he goes further into deception and playing games with her. Now you going into a whole nother realm now.
Mm-hmm.
So yeah, it is some truth to that, and it does mess up the community, because now, okay, he's made you pregnant, and y'all don't like each other, and now the kid isn't going to grow up with the father in the home. So okay, so who is the if you have a girl child, who is the child watching who to pick as a man? She's going to learn that from the father figure in the home. The same way the boy is going to learn how to pick his wife by watching his father, his mother.
Mm-hmm.
So yeah, I mean, it all ties into it's killing us. It's killed our families. You're right. We don't have family structures anymore. They're gone.
So if the community is impacted like this, brothers and sisters on the panel, how are we going to be equipped to conquer and to fight against our enemies and be strong in our convictions if we have young men growing up without the father or some male figure in their life to set the proper bar? Now, I would argue right now, listening to everybody on here, if we had more brothers in the community raising youth like Brother Muhammad or Brother Guy Nolly or a sister like yourself, I would think the Black community would be a hell of a lot better off with this type of strength and wisdom and insight.
It would. I think it would. It would be a great deal better, because then we're thinking more so now. It's not all about us. It's about the little lives that we brought into this world. Because once you have them, it's not about you anymore. And so you don't want to mess up someone's life because you can't make decisions, or you're actually making decisions through emotion. Now, if you all were married and together, y'all gonna have to work it out. Mm-hmm. But always keep in mind that the children that you made will suffer from your decisions. So, I think people will be more into keeping the family together. They should already be, just from living in this time today. Mm-hmm. Without having a family structure, everything is chaos. It should not be a matriarchal society or family structure. It's supposed to be a patriarchal. That's why everything is in chaos. That's my thought on that.
Let me give Sister Buckner some love for the super chat, sister. Thank you for your support. I see you there in the chat room. Thank you. Let me, brother Guy Nolly, you want to add to what was just said, brother?
Well, I always said unity starts from home. We need to start bringing family values back. and we have to break the cycle. You know, I grew up in a single household. You know, and my mother always told me. She said, "Look," she said, "women can raise a man too. She could raise a boy into a man too." You know, she told me how to treat women. She knows what women like to do, and she told me one thing. She told me to stay away. She said, "There's two type of women out there. There's one that you marry, and there's one that you don't." So she that's what told me that she said that's what she told me. She said, "Don't bring no trashy woman over here. I don't care. I don't care if she look like. I don't care if she's a black woman. You know what I'm saying? Don't bring her. She's ratchet. Don't bring her in the house." You know, she was about decency. She was a very classy woman. My mother was a very classy. So she said, if you're gonna get married, make sure she's a sister, and you make sure she's a classy and decent woman. You don't get with no woman who already got kids out of wedlock and all that, because these women are gonna use you. Because that's what she told me. She said these women they want good men only because they want somebody to raise their bastard children. That's what she said. So, and so when I started dating, that's what I target. I target decent sisters, and I would talk to them like I was on an interview. And that's another thing when we interact with people, we gotta start interviewing who we meet, because you know everything is a hookup, and then what happens? The woman get pregnant. The guy realize, oh shoot, she's pregnant. I don't really like her like that, and now that's a whole nother thing. So we need to really choose. We got to know what we want, and how, you know, but all that stuff originate from home. If the parents are not right, most likely the children's not going to come out right. But we got to break that cycle.
Persecuting our sisters because they fell for the trap of Slick Willie, and that's the reality that they're living in. And I rest my mind. Thank you, Blood.
Okay, let me. Very good points. I agree, but I must say this: that if the community, if it keeps persisting down this road, Black people are in a hell of a lot of trouble. If we're not already in trouble, if it keeps persisting and persisting, we're in a lot of trouble. We've got other groups coming over here. You see what's happening with this caravan, and I'm gonna tell you right now. I don't care what anybody thinks. I don't want these people over here. I don't want those people coming over here.
Me either.
4,000. What is it? 4,000. Okay, this is the question.
5,000 people.
5,000. This is what's going to happen, brothers and sisters. Where are they going to live? Where are they going to be employed? We already got enough social problems in this country as it is. And secondly, when these groups of people come into this country, they end up living in our communities.
That's true.
They end up impacting us in our community. They end up shooting us. They bring their gang structure. This is what's happening in Los Angeles, California right now. They end up bringing their gang structures over here. They end up competing with us for Black men who do work in labor type jobs. Matter of fact, there was a time when most landscaping in this country was done by Black people. Now you see Mexicans doing landscaping, painting. Those jobs were synonymous with us. And they want to tell us, oh, Black people are lazy.
Exactly.
Oh, we're so lazy. Wait a minute. Check this. I'm a product of a Black woman who was on welfare. While she was on welfare, and a lot of Black women do this, while they're on welfare, they might be working a job where they're making money under the table. They might be going to school to get out of that welfare system. We never want to address the issue of Black women who are trying to get themselves out of the welfare system, as we try to paint welfare as the face of Black women, that bag lady shit, right? When we know that white people are the ones on welfare, white women benefit from welfare and affirmative action. And these groups that come over here, like the 5,000 that's right across the way, will come over here, get social programs, benefit from things that our people laid their life down to get and to fight for, what little crumbs this country has given us. And the question is, should we as Black people feel guilty that we're not in solidarity with these groups? Because this 5,000 will be moving into our communities, affecting our bottom line, and will also be a threat to our life and our children when they bring their gang structure. And I know this. The MS-13 gang became what it is today because during the Contra, the whole situation in South America with the whole Reagan and the other criminal Oliver North, that whole Contra scandal, using drug money to fuel this war, this situation. A lot of people from Nicaragua came over to California, particularly Los Angeles. They were being picked on by the Mexicans. They created a gang structure. Then they put them in our prison system here in California, which only did what? It fueled their gang structure that much more. Then they ended up turning their vengeance and fight on us as Black people, as well as themselves. So these groups come over here and they will create a subculture which will prey upon our people, which is happening right now. So with that said, as you talk about conquering, as you talk about we have no friends, we have enemies, but we don't have friends, but we have ourselves, Black people. Where do you stand on this issue?
Yeah, no, we shouldn't feel bad at all. No, we don't need to be in solidarity with them. I don't want them here. I think that they should go back and work it out the same way we got to work our shit out over here. We don't need that. We are the ones that it affects because they do move into our neighborhoods. And no, I'm not with that. I'm not with that at all. So no, I wouldn't feel bad, and I don't think nobody else should. No one else Black. They don't feel bad for anything that goes wrong with our people. They don't join us in anything. They come over here and they reap the benefits of the things that our ancestors have fought for, and then act like it's not. So yeah, nah, I don't feel bad at all.
All right, Brother Lyons, then.
I don't feel bad either. I think that basically, they never supported us. They never supported our struggles, and when they come over here, they always take away our jobs. So I agree with the panel so far too, that I don't want them here. I don't think they should be here. And so they should bring them back wherever they came from, plain and simple.
The bottom line is there are people in this country who came over, followed the rules to get in. We just can't afford to take in that many people at the gates like that. But let me tell you something. I blame this on white people, because white people have been using people across the border as free labor. They've been using them against us, to create a dissension. So they are partly to blame for this, Now, if you look at history, they have always been looking to replace us, Black people. They've been looking for the new next Negroes.
That's right.
Mexican. Oh, go ahead, sister. Go ahead.
No, I don't need to speak. I was just confirming you.
Thank you, sister. I appreciate that. They have been trying to find them a new Negro to replace the Negro that's been rebelling against them. That's my thoughts. Now I come over to Brother Guye Nollywood.
Well, you heard what Trump said, that once they start coming over here, once they start, because they're gonna get impatient, they're gonna try to force their way in here, and he's gonna kill them if they start throwing rocks. So here's my thing on this. They're going to be the new KKK. They're going to be the new Klansmen. With these, they come over here. They're going to be in our neighborhoods, and they're going to try to terrorize Black people. Let me tell you something. The reason why gangs has been formed was because of other races trying to oppress us.
That's true.
The Bloods in New York was created by this guy named OG Mack, brother named OG Mack, and the reason why he got Black people to come together in Rikers is because of the damn Latin Kings. So this is nothing new. The Crips and the Bloods, the Crips. you know, they was formed because they was trying to be because once the Black Panthers game, well, of course the Black Panthers was formed because of the KKK, but once the Black Panthers died out, that's when you had the Crips came in.
Well, let me add to that history. If you ever watch a documentary called Bastards of the Party, they talk about how South Central LA, Crenshaw, that whole area, that was an area made up of a lot of European immigrants, Germans, Croatians, a lot of them. When Black people started moving westward into these areas, you had the white gangs. See, the gang structure came from white folks. See, people don't understand that. There were white gangs in Los Angeles, California that were preying on Black people who were going to school in these neighborhoods, and the white gangs were running around attacking Black men. They first formed a group called the Celestines, which eventually formed into what you just said, the Crips, who were trying to emulate the Black Panther Party. That was their whole goal, to protect the community, to protect Black men from this onset of white terrorism against them. That's how it got formed. But today in society, they will make you think that Black gangs is a pathology that comes from Black people. Hell to the no. It's a pathology that comes from Europeans, because Europeans have been fighting each other back and forth for centuries, and they brought their gang structure to America. You saw the movie Gangs of New York. That was a true depiction of their mentality. I'll stop right there. Go ahead, brother.
You're right. You're absolutely right. You're absolutely right. When, you know, I just, you know, like I said, what I already know what's going to happen. What's going to happen is that we only got two choices. If the government actually allow these 5,000 immigrant Latinos come over here, they're going to flood our neighborhood up. We're going to move it out. What happen is that we're going to be out, most of us going to be out on the streets, and then half of us is going to be in prison. So the prison number of our people is going to rise even more, including not just the men, but including the women. A lot of us going to be homeless because a lot of us is waking up, and we are waking up to the point that we're not working for nothing no more. You know what I'm saying? When we work into these corporations or whatever, we want real money. These guys, they're going to work for less. They're going to work for cheap. They're comfortable with that. So our times is running out. The only thing that could probably stop us is Donald Trump. You know what I'm saying? Now, but you got the Democrat liberals, they're going to try to, try to get the House, and they're going to try to fight that. And then next thing you know it, they're going to want these borders to open up for these people. But like you said, brother, they're going to come in, they're going to flood our neighborhood up. We're going to end up moving out, and then, or some of us going to stay, and then we're going to end up fighting these people on an everyday basis.
Okay, let me give you an example of something, brother. I lived in Oakland. I lived in San Francisco for over 26 years. I lived in Oakland for about 10. Oakland has dipped to about 20. There's a 25% reduction in the Black population in Oakland, California. As you saw with the barbecue Becky, white folks are moving in, other groups are moving in. Now they find Oakland, California as desirable when once upon a time they did not, right? Now they're moving away from from San Francisco, so expensive. Black folks in San Francisco, we got Hunters Point, we got the Fillmore area, which I spent a lot of my time growing up in that area. I'm from Baltimore, Maryland originally. I was born in Baltimore, but I got a lot of family back there. But I spent a lot of time in the Fillmore area, Hunters Point, Potrero Hill area of San Francisco. These are areas that are dwindling. Black folks are almost like a unicorn. You can't even hardly find Black folks in San Francisco that actually live there. Okay, maybe go and visit, but the Black population is going boom, bye-bye, because people are moving closer and further into what we call the East Bay, the Sacramento area. I'm close to that area, moving further and further out because it's getting more expensive, and other groups are desiring spaces that black people once lived in, and now they now deem as desirable when they once said it's a ghetto. This is kind of shit in this country. So while we have this issue going on, we as black people can't afford to be spending our time worrying about these folks across that border in terms of supporting them, running to Congress, writing, and I did a video on this. You got Elijah Cummings. Now, I give a little respect to him because he's been trying to get the reparations off the ground, which they don't even want to talk about in committee in this damn country. But I have to get on Elijah Cummings because he was on there crying. We got children over there. While he's crying, I've never seen him cry like that for black folks being shot in the street. Now, what's that all about?
John Lewis, same thing.
Why are they not crying over us? And they're on television crying. We got these young children across the border. We got young children here in America that are crying.
Exactly.
Go ahead, panel. I'm getting a little emotional, but I have problems with that. They're killing us in Los Angeles. They're killing us around the country. There's various things going on, and our black politicians are not spending time on that. Now, let me just say this. I'm getting a little heated right now. Brother Muhammad did a video that blew my wig back. He talked about the Obama administration. It's laughable, man. Very laughable. It's very laughable. He talked about the Obama administration co-signed and gave Native Indians, and you know, black folks always like to say, I'm Indian. I had a grandmother with long hair, and not all black people intermix with the Native people, Native Americans, only certain parts of the country. Now, I have an ancestor who is a freeman, but a lot of us, as we talk about Native Americans, don't even realize that a lot of them enslaved us, and a lot of them worked as bounty hunters.
Yep.
For man, there's the goddamn information, man.
Yeah.
And Obama and his administration gave them reparations for something that happened so long ago, where a lot of their ancestors are not even alive, and they tell you and me, and you'll have conservative Negroes say, y'all need to stop worrying about reparations. Don't ask for it. Come on, pull your bootstraps. Stop whining about history. But Brother Muhammad said that he wants to identify who these half-baked Negroes are that put their John Hancock on that. Now, speak to that, Brother Muhammad.
As soon as we get that list, we're going to name the names because we got to hold them responsible for the crimes that they have committed while we sent them to office, and then they get into office and sell us out and come back to us with a smile like they've done something for us when all this time they've been operating against us.
My argument, brother, is that I don't believe we have any real black leadership in terms of political leadership in my lifetime right now. Now, I look up to people like Adam Clayton Powell. He was a rebel rouser in his day. I look up to people when you talk about figures. I like Paul Robeson. He was definitely a Renaissance man, a poet, an actor, but an activist. I like that type of leadership. You know, you had Malcolm X, you had Muhammad Ali, you had these type of black people that were uncompromising. We don't have those type of black people today in terms of on the political side or in the national forefront. When you look at the NFL with Colin Kaepernick, what I find interesting is that Colin Kaepernick got himself tangled up with that guy. What's that little wrinkled individual? George Soros. But engaged in what I call social engineering. When you get that kind of individual writing your checks for your Black Lives Matter movement and for your let's take a knee. Taking a knee ain't gonna result in no real power, in my opinion. When you got him entangled with that guy and giving him money, and you put two and two together and you say, okay, Colin Kaepernick just comes out of nowhere with this whole movement, you say to yourself, then they're making him the poster child. Why? You've had black men that came before him who spoke of these issues, but nobody gave a damn. Then NFL players who I don't know why we think that NFL players are somehow going to be revolutionary, because last time I checked, they didn't really take a knee because of Kaepernick's stance. They took a knee because they're slave masters, because NFL football is a plantation. See, the football is like a plantation, right? You're working the fields. And the football players are those mandingos, just like in the movie, what was that? What was that movie with what's that damn movie? Django and Django Unchained, when you had that scene when they were like, fight, niggas, fight. They was
exactly.
Going, and then at the end, fear, right? Well, when you get football, the white man is in the box. The Negro, Mandingo fighters are on the field, running up and down the field, and the white owners, the Jerry Jones type, they say, "Look at my niggas, run, niggas, run." Right? And then the reward, like that beer, symbolically, is here's your check, Negro. We're gonna make you, and why we make you rich, you're gonna give the money right back to me, because I got an agent, a lawyer who you. If you want to buy a car, Negro, or a house, I got a guy over here. Keep you away from the black community. So when you understand that mentality, that's why you could understand why the only time they took a full kneel consistently is when the white man said, we don't like what Donald Trump said. So now, Negroes, you can take a knee. Did it a knee. So when you've got that type of mentality and this George Soros social engineering going on, when you got that type of stuff going on, that tells you right there, you have false leadership. Exactly. You don't have leadership, and these young black men in the NFL doing their profession, not all of them are, some of them are conscious and some of them are not. And the question is, look at the surroundings they find themselves in. They're surrounded by white money, white power. And to keep their job, they must maintain the status quo of that white power, because that white power is employing them, putting them in the lifestyle that they live in, because they can run a football or a basketball. That is the mentality that we have today, because we're so snippet and influenced by black celebrity. And like I said before, I'm not impressed by black folks that can dance and sing and play sports. They've always given us that avenue.
Exactly. Begging nobody, Massa, can you let us do this, Massa? Fuck no. This is what we say. We're doing it regardless of whether anybody likes it or not. And I'll be quiet. I know Brother Guy likes to get on, so I'm gonna be quiet. Let Brother Guy tear that bad boy up.
Go right ahead, brother. Go right ahead, Guy.
Here's the problem. And this is what I have a problem with brainwashed Negroes.
Come on, bro.
When Barack Obama, when they asked that, when they was on a panel, and I know with the 2007 panel, when they asked him, it was a big screen. I don't know if y'all remember. It was a big screen. Brother came on it. He asked him, he said, black people, African people in this country did not get their reparations. Are you for reparations to give black people in America? And once Barack Obama disapproved of that, he should have never, his votes, no one should have voted for that dude. He got, then on top of that, this is what my hatred toward that man was.
Come on, bro.
That the Jewish Holocaust was the worst Holocaust ever in history. And that's when I just say, you know what? This man was really a piece of shit. To me, I'd rather have Bush back in office than put that man. How dare him say something like that? And then he said, when he brought up the reparations, he used this word infeasible. That means it can't be done.
Exactly.
So he had no intentions of giving us anything, but he catered to the Latinos. He catered to the LGBT and all these weird motherfuckers. This is what he did. And black people still voted for him. They gave him extra 4 more years. Why? And sometimes I say to myself, do we really want to be liberated? Do we really want to be liberated? Because when somebody tell you in your face they're not giving you nothing, that should have been, because the whole point of us voting, it's not because they don't want the other guy in. They just want to make sure there's the person that's best for your interests. What is in my interests?
That's right.
You got to protect your interests. And black people did not protect their interests. So now, history, we still going to be talking about the same thing over every 4 years, every 8 years. This is going to be it's going to be redundant. And it's like sometimes I ask myself, do we really want to be free? And I have black people, these black liberals, telling me that I'm a sellout because I didn't vote for him. That I'm a coon because I didn't vote for him because he's a black man, not because he's a mulatto. There's a difference between a black man and a mulatto. It's a big difference. And we need to stop calling mulattoes black people because they're not. He was raised white.
That's right.
Part of the issue, brother, is that I don't think, and sometimes when I examine everything in my 48 years on the earth, I got a feeling that black people, it's not really freedom that we want. I think we want to be comfortable.
Go ahead.
Let me give you an example. Remember when you look, I remember as a kid, I watched the repeat of the Superfly movie. And there was a scene in the Superfly movie where Priest wanted to get out of the lifestyle, right?
You made an old one or a new one?
No, I'm talking about the original one, brother. I grew up. Don't let my baby face fool you. I grew up the original one that they back in the late 70s. So I was a little kid. I was about 7, 8, whatever. They re-released the movie in the theaters, you know, from the original 70s and they re-released it later on again. And my mother took me to see the movie. I was a little kid. And the scene in the movie where Priest was talking to one of his partners about wanting to get out of the game, get out of the lifestyle. And remember the scene where the brother said, "Nigga, you must be crazy. You got color TV. You got a apartment. You got all this luxury. You got to be a goddamn fool. I'll do anything that white man want me to do for you." Remember that scene, Brother Muhammad?
Wow, I haven't seen the movie.
Oh, okay. Well, excuse me then.
Was it Richard Pryor said that?
No. It wasn't Richard Pryor character but he was in that movie. But the reason why I'm bringing the scene up is because I think it's indicative. It's an old classic scene, brother, in black cinema. I think it's indicative of the problems that we have today as black people, that we want to be comfortable. We don't really want freedom. And if we can just be comfortable and if the white man can just be nice to us, and we can love the white man like we really do deeply inside then we'll be okay with being assimilated further into this system. Now, what are your thoughts?
Going to do? Yeah, we did it, and we didn't beg nobody for it. We took it. We conquered it.
You know, brother, let me just say this. We got brother, the great liberator on that just came in, and I'm going to go to him. I hope he's had a chance to hear some of our discussion. But let me just say this. And I piggyback off of the great Dr. Khalid Muhammad. I was listening to him some years ago, and he said that black people, and we're actually the most we're the most patriotic because we fought in every war, right? They're trying to say that we're not patriotic, but yet we fought in every goddamn war. But he made a statement about Crispus Attucks, who was the first person to die in the Revolutionary War, black man, right? Yes, and Khalid Muhammad said that he said this. He said that black folks all sentimental over Crispus Attucks. And he said, if I'm quoting him correctly, he said, the Negro should have died. He was fighting on the wrong side. He was fighting for white people's liberation and not his own, because everything about that damn war was about white people fighting against the Great Bank of Britain, against the oppression of other white people. Because we know through history that white people are always fighting with each other. They've always fought each other, even though they tell you and me that we fight each other, right? And so he fought on the wrong side, and a lot of black folks historically thought that, well, if I fight, I'll be able to show the white man that I'm a man, that I'll get an even square treatment. And what did the white man do to you, black man? You come back from war and he saw that uniform on you in the South. And that's how a lot of riots started in the South, because they would strip you of the uniform. They would hang you.
That's right.
They destroy. This is what's crazy. Everybody wants to talk about Black Wall Street. But does everybody understand that Black Wall Street was destroyed because never in history has a community been bombed from the top in this country? You have white men getting up in planes, putting bombs on this community. They bombed the Black community. They bombed it out of existence. How many of you don't realize that they got up in planes and they threw bombs? They didn't like seeing Black people economically independent. They didn't like seeing us with that uniform on.
That's right.
They didn't like seeing the triple nickel and all Black paratroop outfit, or the Harlem Hellfire, or the Tuskegee Airmen, which I, by the way, have had the privilege, because I worked in nursing homes before, of meeting 3 legitimate, real, original Tuskegee Airmen. All right? They didn't like that. They would rip the uniform off of us. And you have to ask yourself, damn it, with all that we've gone through in that way, how dare anyone say that we're not patriotic? How dare anyone say that we don't have a right to say, I don't want to stand for the flag? Black folks have already paid our goddamn dues.
That's right.
Now, you know, on these panels with conservative talking type brothers, they'll say, well, when it comes to reparations, what should Black people be exempt from? God damn it, we should be exempt from paying taxes. We should be exempt from military service. God damn it, we should be exempt from paying for college. We shouldn't have to pay for any goddamn college services or any goddamn thing. That's the reparations. If you're going to give us something without it being money, you better think. I mean, every year when I get paid from my job, I pay no goddamn taxes. Okay? God damn it, when I go out and I buy goods and services, my debit card should say black man alert. He does not pay any surcharge. Black man alert. God damn it. Now that's what I say. And any of you out there who don't agree with me, I can take my pants off right now and tell you to kiss my ass. Now, everybody got to say we got the great liberator on. The great liberator is on with us, folks.
How y'all doing?
We're good.
You got brother Maurice Muhammad, who is my main guest on here. Taking knowledge and dimes. We got brother Guye Nollywood, and we got sister Yanni. I'm not saying names right.
Yeah.
Sister Yaya. I'm bad with names, folks. Sister Yaya on, and I got my right hand man Lions Den on with me right now, brother.
Nice to meet y'all. How y'all doing?
Good, brother. Nice to meet you, brother.
Brother Liberator, that's what we've been talking about. Just to give you a nice summary, we've been dealing with the issue of whether Black women are responsible for the destruction of the Black community. We talked about Obama giving money to Native Americans.
Right.
That we didn't get we ain't got nothing. We talked about issues about Black fear and how fear, which conjures into being the enemy within inside of us, holds us back from doing the things that we should do. The issue of our identity as a people. We got into immigration, about the 5,000 across the border, how these people move into our communities. That's where they're going to live, okay?
Right.
Structures that they bring. We talk about the coon behavior of some Black folks. We got into Kanye West's issues, how he's now talking about, oh, I've been used, folks. Look. It's like Muhammad Ali when he fought Frazier, and he had the little pitch, he had the little gorilla in his hand. And he said, wake up, dummy. I say to these Black celebrities, wake up, dummy, wake up. Wake your mind, right? So we just touching on everything that has to do with things that Black people deal with.
Right.
And we know that you got a lot of good points. So anything you want to touch on, brother, go right ahead. We also talked about the deprived mind. Brother Muhammad talks about that on his show about it is very important to realize we cannot have the Black mind deprived of true proper knowledge. And we got to get away from having a white mindset. We also talked about the fact that white supremacy is actually a myth. And the only reason why we give power to it is because white people want to give this construct in our mind that they are above us. And if we see them as in power and they manifest that in their movies, their commercials, everything, and try to destroy our image, we will buy into this false reality that we are inferior, therefore they are supreme. So that's the summary, brother.
Okay. Wow, y'all, it sounds like y'all been having a robust conversation. I wish I would have been able to listen to it, but I was actually doing a brief show on my channel when you first sent me the link, and then I had to go run and take care of some business. But let me touch on this, because this is something that that I focus on a lot, and that is the family dynamics, the relationship dynamics, and how these things affect the community and give us the community we have today. Now, you mentioned something about, is the Black woman responsible for the destruction of the community? And like that, it's a loaded question, because the truth of the matter is that there's enough blame to go around. Ultimately, I put the destruction of the community, I put the blame where it belongs, and that is the government and the governmental institutions and private sector institutions that collaborated together to give us exactly what we have today. But one thing I think we do have to understand is that part of our condition is both systematic and behavioral. And when we start talking about the behaviors that facilitate, what we see today, especially in these closed urban areas, then I would have to assign a certain level of culpability to the women, because the women are the mothers. And this is the thing, is that the mothers are the firewall of the nation. They're the firewall of the culture and of the community. Because the truth is that as men, we are expendable, because part of our mandate as men is to protect. And in the effort of protecting, we could lose our life at any moment. And so that means that the lot of carrying the culture, the standards, and the ethics will always fall to the women, to the mothers, and it is incumbent upon them to teach the children a better way. And the fact of the matter is that a lot of the behaviors that we see being exhibited by our youth today are a direct reflection of the mothers. We often talk about single mothers and fatherless homes, but I think we have to acknowledge that the single mother and the fatherless child are a symptom. And in my opinion, and in my observations, they are a symptom of a traumatized female group. A lot of our sisters, they suffer from psychological trauma, emotional trauma, and more importantly, sexual trauma. And so I was talking about this last night, and it's something that I've observed, is that it seems as though a lot of our sisters have adopted sociopathic tendencies in an effort to survive, as a survival technique, as a survival tactic. I think the most glaringly obvious expression of that is this idea of the strong and independent Black woman, and that entire moniker, that entire caricature has helped to do more harm than good. You have a lot of sisters who they aren't male centered; they're actually trauma centered. They have to have some type of trauma in their life because it orients their womanhood. It orients their femininity for the most part. I mean, think when we think about it, that strong, independent woman thing has come to embody and encapsulate, what we know as Black womanhood, and it almost serves as a rites of passage. I mean, let's be real and let's be honest with it. And so when we talk about those issues, then from that aspect, sisters have to hold a certain level of culpability and accountability. The other thing I've stated consistently is that I put the onus on the men, because it starts with the men. It starts with us, and too many of us, for whatever reason, have at various times dropped the balls. We've been selfish. We've acted the ways we wanted to act, do the things we wanted to do, and haven't really thought about what's in the best interest of the family, what's in the best interest of the community, what's in the best interest of our children, and what is in the best interest of our women. And so part of what we're seeing today with the condition of the psyche of the Black female, as we know her today, is a part of us getting our comeuppance to a certain extent. I think that's something we have to be honest about. So, because we're supposed to be doing that panel at 9:00 with Nod. I believe you're going to be on, right? Information man.
Yeah, later on tonight, I'm gonna join. Mm-hmm.
Yeah, and so I'm looking forward to that because I do want to talk about it. Talk about it more. Last Saturday, the panel was kind of hot and heavy. But I really want to delve into it more and actually break it down more and talk about some of the solutions, that need to be had. And another thing, because you mentioned, this idea of whiteness. I think we set ourselves up for our relationships to fall apart when both Black men and Black women adopted white womanhood and white manhood. Because the fact of the matter is that both of us have systematically been inhibited from living up to those standards purposely. So by us adopting that, internalizing that, it kind of set us up. It kind of set us up for the kill. And if you pay attention to the level of discourse that tends to go on between Black men and Black women, that's essentially what we're arguing over. The fact that Black women could never really live up to the myth to white womanhood as we know it, to European beauty standards, and as Black men, we could never really live up to white manhood. And so that's basically what we're arguing over. And I think what we have to do is formulate and define for ourselves on our own terms what constitutes Black manhood and what constitutes Black womanhood. And I think once we get on that track and begin to do those things, then we could probably, have a level of atonement between Black men and Black women.
Okay, let me do this. Lions Den, it's been a while since we did this. I'm gonna ask. I have a few more questions before we end this stream for the day. But Lions Den, let's give some love in the chat rooms to some of the folks that's in the chat room that have been listening and making comments. And I'm glad that you all are here. I really appreciate you all that have come on board. And go right ahead, brother.
Okay, I'm gonna get a shout out in the chat room for Erica Howard, Queen, I Know Who I Am, Sonia Seas, Joseph Elliott, Milliman All Day, Dark Souls Geese, The Real Aaron Collins, King Wage, Larry Aldridge, Patici, Twist 13 Empress, T. Kelly, Emily Dooley, Mr. Cat, T. Smooth Sounds, Nama Buckner, O Reliable, King Nick, Nish W, T Smooth the Sound, Militant Black Buddha, she is from the VAIO.
All right, VAIO.
All right. Let's see here. Okay, Black Bruce Wayne Jr. Let's see. Okay, Rain and Wombat. O Reliable. Paulette Hatfield. Jordan Crawford. Bonafide 1970. And let's see here. Okay, Mickey Bricks, Khalid Hassan, Lady C, Niche W, Emery Joseph, Nikki. Let's see, and I believe that's okay. Cheeky, Carlin, 2 stars. Decent D. I believe that's so far. That's it right now, info.
Lions Den, thank you for doing that, brother. Everybody out there, I'm going to give you a clap for sticking with us. I want everybody to pay attention to this message I'm about to play. Very important for you, Black people.
Let us be collective. And Black folks need to be codified. We've got to stop proving, not dancing, but making, or progress.
All right, back to the discussion here. I'm going to bring it back over to our guest of honor, Brother Muhammad. Brother Muhammad, Maurice Muhammad, you heard some of the things that the great liberator had to say, brother. You did mention yourself that it plays on both sides. Black men and Black women, we have to work together to find ourselves out of the conditions that we are in, that we find ourselves in, whether it be our own faults or the faults of the larger society that we live in. Now, I want you to, if you can, speak to that, but I can't. You said something on one of your programs. I know I'm giving you a lot of different questions here, but you said something about that Black people, and this is something you can get into, brother, that we don't really need litigation. We need more swinging. We need more action than litigation. You know, you have these situations where you've got Black folks being killed by cops or have been killed by cops. You got these Bruce Brothers suit wearing Negro lawyers. The one that was representing the Trayvon Martin family. What's that brother name? Lions Den, Crump, Attorney Crump, who never wins anything.
Yeah, Benjamin Crump. Attorney
Crump. I'm gonna tell you something right now. This is why I'm not a supporter of Crump. I was watching a show on Joe Madison. I think it was Karen Hunter. She brought Attorney Crump on there. She asked him harsh questions about, hey, I see you representing these families, but none of them are really getting any justice. You're getting some money out of these settlements. And the minute she asked him the difficult questions, he ducked and dived her and said, oh, I gotta go, Karen. Oh, I gotta go. And the minute he said that, I said, oh, that told me everything I need to know about these so-called attorneys that represent these families and the poor advisement that they get. And so with that saying, Brother Muhammad, because you said, do Black people need more litigation, or what is it that we really need? Brother Guye Nollywood, what's going on, brother? I know you've been sitting back patient. You've been listening to everybody's points. Go right ahead and render your thoughts.
Now, here's the question now. The question is, what is a revolution? Well, a revolution is a forcible overthrow of a government or a social order in favor of a new system. Now we can, one of the things that we can do is rebel. One of the revolution is don't stand up for the flag. When you go to your little ball games or whatever, sit your ass down. Don't stand up for the flag. The flag do not represent us. The American flag represent white folks. Now, white people don't like it and they curse you out, then you whip their ass, because revolution is bloody. White people, the enemy, is not going to like what you're doing. So they're going to want to fight. So you give them what they want. Now, the other brother said, Liberator, he said, well, let's stop spending money on white supremacy or what, white businesses or whatever. So my question to him is, are you going to replace it?
No, I wouldn't replace it.
Hear me out.
Okay.
But the thing is, we got to replace it first. Then we can stop them. Then we can stop spending money on it. Because my thing is like this, you know, our people, it's very hard. You could say, well, we start spending, we're just gonna have to starve to death. I mean, I think that's a little unrealistic. But I just think that what we need to do, there are Black businesses that we have where we need to support. We have Black banks. Take your money out the white bank and put it in the Black bank. And that's how you shut them down, because we are the biggest consumers. But when we start
Okay, right. Brother Guye Nollywood, Brother Liberator wants to answer your question. Ken, is that okay? We're having a good, constructive conversations, and what I like is that nobody's yelling and screaming at nobody and all that buffoon. Right. See, we don't need that type of nonsense. And see, this is the kind of way that Black people should deal with each other. We can agree to disagree without the buffoonery. And I like the fact that nobody's being personal against each other. Liberator, say what you want to say so I can bring it back over to Brother Guye Nollywood. And then we got Brother Bakari, who's just come back on. And I'm pretty sure he's been listening from afar. So I want to get his thoughts in too. Go right ahead.
There's a book by an author named Albert Memmi, and it's a good read. And the name of that book is called The Colonizer and the Colonized. And in his assessment, he was a Moroccan. And in his assessment of the system of white supremacy, he concluded that white supremacy is almost an unsolvable issue, because the colonizer and the colonized will forever be codependent. So even when we talk about removing money from a white bank and putting it to a black bank, it's still going to fund white supremacy. Even if we go to Africa and start our own African nation, it's still going to fund white supremacy, because the fact is that all of the 98% of the world's resources are hoarded and controlled by 1% of its population. So and that's what I'm saying, you would have to actually think outside of the box of what we've ever considered. So when I mentioned stop consuming, I'm not talking about replacing it with anything. I'm talking very literally about stop consuming, even if we have to die, because that's pretty much the only choice we have. When you understand the way it works and the way it operates on the imperialist aspect of it and on the colonial aspect of it, that's really the only option we have. Anything that we do that feeds the system is going to facilitate white supremacy. It just is. But that's all I wanted to say.
Okay.
All right, Brother Guy, if you have more points you want to make before I bring it over to Brother Bakari. And Lions Den, if you have anything you want to add too, brother, I want you in this as well.
Well, yeah, that's the thing, because when you start taking away money from, because white people, they're like animals, you know what I'm saying? They're like very hungry. When you start taking the food out of an animal's mouth, they're gonna get angry. So like I said, when you start taking money out of these white businesses and replacing it into our own businesses, I don't see how that is going to, I mean, maybe you can get into the scientific of it, but I don't see how that's going to, I think more white companies will fall that way, because we have to replace it with something. I don't think that we all should starve to death and die and just, because they don't need us anyway. To me, that's like helping them out. So we gotta piss them off. That's what we gotta do. We gotta piss them off to make them angry. So when they attack us, we'll be ready for them. That's the whole purpose. So I don't think most of these companies, are fueled by our dollars. That's how they stay in power. But we gotta start taking our money and put it in our business and helping other business grow, so they could be, because we are in a competitive, this is a capitalist country. We're very competitive. This is a very competitive country. And a lot of white people need our money. And yes, we need to go to Africa and get those resources. We need to go to Africa and get those resources. We need to get these guys out of business. That's the purpose. So we got to when I say replace it, we got to replace our dollars and put it in where it should belong. And that's the only way. That's revolution, because these people, they're going to get pissed off. They're not going to like it, and they're going to want to fight. They're going to be hungry, just like a hungry wolf. You take food out of a wolf mouth, they're going to get hungry. They're going to get mad. They're going to want to kill. And I'll be ready for that. I like stuff like that. But I don't think we all should perish. To me, it sounds so unrealistic.
Yeah, but that's what it might require, though. That's what it might require. Mm-hmm. You might have to die.
We're going to die anyway.
Exactly.
Die anyway. But I'm just saying, I mean, I see your point, but it's just that I just feel like we just got to just replace our dollars. That's all it is. But I see your point.
All right. Fair enough.
Okay, Brother Bakari, are you there, brother?
Yes, I'm here. Peace, I'm back. I'm sorry about that. I was out taking care of business and kept dropping.
Oh, that's okay. But you had a chance to hear some of what we've been talking about. What are your thoughts?
Well, first I want to touch on what I think his name, Brother Liberator, said about make it too expensive about being consumed. I can't remember the exact words that he said about even if we have to starve to death. There's no need to starve to death. We can start growing our own food and sharing with one another. See, for me, I see it's like, I believe a lot of us think that separating or whatever we do mean we're not going to deal with other people. You separate, but we are in an integrated society, regardless, even once we separate. So you're going to deal with other people through business and everything. You still going to, we don't have to start there because we want to protect ourselves. What Brother Maurice said about how Eric Garner, as big as he is, just gave them their life. And I know Brother Liberator said, well, even if we fight back, they have a contingency plan for that. So they killing us anyway. It's okay if some of them have to go. It's okay to lose, but it's never okay not to fight back. That's why no other race or ethnic group of people in this country get treated the way we are treated, because we have gotten to a point where we think it's okay for them to kill us. And it's not. It's got to be another way. Yeah, it's always another way. I think the first one, like Brother Maurice said, is starting in your mind, but then from your mind, I agree with the Brother Liberator about economics, because that's what I talk about. We do need an economic foundation. We need a social foundation. We need a political foundation, but we also need a foundation where we will let you know that we're willing to fight back. And to me, that might be the last resort, but we're to that point now, and that's just the honest truth. Because it's not just, and I don't use the word, I don't say white supremacy, because no one is superior to me. They have power, that they garnered their power by putting a foot up people's ass all around the world. And the people that don't ever fight back, who is the least respected, is us. And the only people we will fight back is us. So I heard him earlier. I heard him when we were talking about the black woman, and he said, well, this is a different type of woman. Well, I think differently. I don't see the black woman being the cause of what the black community goes through. I see a black woman looking for protection, and the black man haven't protected them. So therefore, they lean toward white power, because the black men will only fight each other, but we don't stand and protect them. And there's some now that when you do stand and protect them, they are so confused. They don't know what to do. They still lean on that. The black woman has been the most loyal thing in the world to black men. And it bothers me when a black man say it's the black woman's fault for what the black community is going through. I got to pull.
I didn't say that. I didn't say I didn't say it was her fault. I said she's facilitating it. She's acting as a cycler of it. Now, let me just say this. Hold on. Let me say this, because this is what I'm taking an issue with what you guys are saying, because you guys are talking about, revolution and fighting back as if black people have never fought back. The fact of the matter is we've been fighting back the entire time. But precisely because we are outnumbered and we are outgunned, fighting back is an exercise in futility. That's why we haven't gotten anywhere. We fought back.
Put your headphones in there. Okay. Okay. But the point that I'm making, we can say she facilitated, we can say whatever, but we got to put pants and understand the black man has been weak when it comes to dealing with people other than black people. And that's why the black woman who only want to survive in this system, straight to point the feet at, we failed our women and our children. The black woman is the least protected and the least damn loved. You go out and you see, it's not the black woman's fault that the man lay down with them, make babies, and get up and leave. That's the black man. Wait, let me finish.
Go ahead.
All right, brothers, let me just say this.
Let me finish, brother, because I ain't
Brother Bakari, let me just say this.
Breaking up really bad.
Brother Bakari, can you hear me? I'm gonna let you.
I'm here.
I want to just listen to me now. I want you to finish saying everything that you're saying. I want the liberator to say his point. Let's try our best, brothers, to make our points, and let's not let it turn into an argument, because we've been very constructive so far. And so let me just, Brother Bakari, finish your point. Make your point, brother, and then we'll go over to the other people involved. Go right ahead, brother.
Okay, the only thing I'm saying is I'm not arguing. I'm passionate when it comes to black women.
Okay.
I got 2 daughters. I'm passionate when it comes to black women, and they have been at least protected. And I believe that the black man has failed the black woman, and that's part of the reason.
Okay, I think his
the black man has failed to protect the black woman, and that's the reason why a lot of black women do what they do, because they want to survive in this system where we have turned our back on them.
Okay. I'll respond. I'll respond.
That's my
very
point.
briefly. He mentioned about it's not her fault if a man lays down with her and gets her pregnant and leave. It's not her fault. She can't control what he does, but she can control what she does. And what my father taught me is that as a man, you value your seed, and a woman values her womb. It's going to always be a two-way street. Black women aren't children. The fact of the matter is that post 1960s, from the early 1970s onward, a lot of sisters have adopted an ideology that was created and that was perpetuated to them by the dominant society, by white women, that would force a wedge between them and their men. This is where we are today. This is where we are. This is modern American womanhood, and this is why we have a lot of these issues that we have. The brother Bakari mentioned he has 2 daughters. Well, I have 3, and I have a wife. So I'm all about, personal accountability, and everybody needs to take responsibility and accountability, especially for their own reproduction, especially when we had the Roe v. Wade decision that made it abundantly clear that it's a woman's body and it's her choice. So no one is forcing these sisters to lay down with men and get pregnant and have babies. No one is making them do that. So everybody has to choose better and have better criteria and better standards for who they decide to entertain and who they decide to lay with, period. So that's all I wanted to say on that.
Okay, can I say something really quick?
Come on, sister. We need to hear your voice.
I just listen. Okay, so what about the instances when we have these and I'm just going to refer to them, as what they are, these niggas who are in these women's ear telling them, yeah, we gonna be together, we gonna have a baby, we gonna live that life, we gonna do that, and no soon as she's pregnant, they're gone. See, now that's something that now she believed him when he told her that they were gonna be together.
Okay.
Now that she's stuck with the load, how is that her fault?
Let me ask you this: how often and how common do you think that is?
It's very common.
Very common, and it happens quite often. And see, this is what I have an issue with, and this is where me and sisters had to go our separate ways, because you're not going to tell me out one side of your mouth that you're going to do what you want, that no man can police your body, that you're your own independent, strong, and free woman. It's your cooch, and you're gonna give it to who you want to give it to. Then you're not gonna come back and play the victim and say that this man lied to you and told you that and sold you this dream in order to get sex. No, we don't have those social stigmas anymore. And this is the problem that I'm having with sisters. Stop talking about womanhood today as if it is the same back in the 1960s, when the fact of the matter it is not. Casual sex is the cultural norm in American society. And reason and logic dictates that when you engage in sex casually, you're going to have casual children. And a result of casual children is deadbeat ass niggas who are not going to want to handle the responsibility of that child. And this is why I said that sisters are the firewall when it comes to the community and when it comes to the nation. This idea where women have been sold, where they can do what a man do. No, you cannot. And nothing is more obvious than the fact that you can't, because you're left there with the child while he's gone. So I'm sorry, I just can't go along with that victim narrative any longer. I'm sorry,
It's not so much a victim narrative. That happens to some women. I know a couple good women who didn't ask for that. But then they got this man who come up, and as opposed to him being a man, he led around by his dick. Now he gonna tell her what he hears so he can bang her out, and he's not gonna deal with the repercussions later. She is. That happens. There is nothing new under the sun. Nothing has changed. It is the same thing over and over and over again.
A lot has changed.
Women who suffer that.
A lot has changed, but you know that's neither here nor there. A lot has changed.
Let me say this: things have changed, but at the end of the day, sister, keep this in mind. Men that are doing this sort of behavior are men. I gotta mute that because it's noisy. Men that are engaging in this kind of behavior are not men. You're talking about boys. These are boys. Okay, these are not men. And I think, and I've said this before, I think because we're so far gone that I don't even know if we know what a man is, what a woman is. We have to define it. We have to define what is it to be a man today? What is it to be a woman? And that how many women today growing up are actually dealing and seeing real men. Now, I have a daughter myself. It is my job to give my daughter the proper imagery, the proper reality of what a man is by how I carry myself, right? How I treat her, how I teach her, so that she will have a better sense of how, if it happens for her to pick a mate. So a lot of times what you have out here are boys, men in men's bodies, but they're really boys in their mind. I don't want us to get too far off the beacon path here. This is a great topic, but let me get back to my main guest of honor on here tonight, and that is
stop. If we're really serious, if we're really about it, that is in my opinion, that is a better strategy. Now, am I saying, you know, not to defend yourselves, anything like that? No, I'm not saying that. All I'm talking about is what would be the best approach from a strategic, tactical standpoint, in my opinion. So I'll just leave it there.
Okay. Let me see. Let's go over to brother Guye Nollywood before we go back to Bakari. Lions Den, wait a minute. Lions Den, how are you doing, brother? You out there? Lions Den. Okay, let me go over to, I don't know where he's at. Let me go over to brother Guye Nollywood to say a few words. Go right ahead, brother.
Thank you, my brother. This is as far as the black woman, I think we're living where there's a lot of feminist movement, where they're encouraging women to do without a man because of white. This is another white supremacy tactic. And a lot of sisters feel that they could be independent. They don't need no man, and yada, yada, yada. Which now marriage is out the window. This is the reason why you have 72% of women are single and have children out of wedlock. So we have to fix that. Like you said, brother, these guys that's macking these sisters are boys. They're not men. Men don't operate like that. We don't jive talk a sister. Actually, we show a little bit of class of that. You know, we show a little more intelligence. And it's not you know, like I said, when we get into a relationship, it's like going on an interview. However, sisters are the ones that make the choices. You know, we sell ourselves, and the sisters the one that either want to buy us or leave us alone. But sisters are unprotected because you got these nasty Negroes, like the uncles that molest their nieces and nephews, nieces particularly, and you know, so you got a lot of y'all young girls are being molested in the homes, and they're not being protected, and so that's another problem within our race. So we have to be more as men. We have to check other men that's harming our women. And also too, once we let the women know that, hey, we're here for you, then women would probably get out this feminist mentality and let them come back into their natural state. So that's the thing right there. But as far as what I was going to get into with the what was the other one? What was the other one y'all was talking about? I'm sorry. What was the other one y'all was talking about just a minute ago?
Well,
I was going to say that real quick. You was talking about something else?
Well, we got into the issue. I think the issue was around, you know, who to blame for the situation in the Black community. And I know Brother Muhammad brought into account that we have to look at things from a spiritual level. Brother Liberator felt that maybe religion or religious belief doesn't have any place in this discussion in terms of whether you want to be revolutionary or whether we want to go by litigation. And the question before is that, is it about litigation or is it about revolution? That's right. That was where that's where I really went, because that was one of the things that Brother Muhammad was talking about on his program earlier. On his program. Go right ahead.
Okay, it's going to be very brief. I definitely revolution, because that's the whole purpose of making a serious change, to show that we want to be separated. We want to separate our dollars. We got to separate. I mean, when we talk about separate, we got to be very clear. We talk about mind, body, and soul. We got to separate ourselves. Everything with the European has taught us, and through history, we have to get away from that as much as possible. You know, we have to get in our natural state, and Honorable Marcus Garvey has said that Black people are not in their natural state, and we got to be in our natural state. That means we have to take our dollars and separate our dollars and put it into and support Black businesses. We got to get away and live and establish our own community, and make and clean up our community. We got to learn how to clean. You know, I don't like to be in a Black neighborhood and it's dirty and filthy. So we got to make sure we got to be self-efficient. We got to learn to be self-efficient. So I think revolution. That is change. And you're going to see the reaction of your enemy. You're going to see the real, I would say you're going to see the real nature of your enemy. And this is coming from the so-called nice white folks. You're going to see the real nature of the enemy. So revolution is the key. That is revolution.
Okay. Brother Muhammad, you got that troll that came in here. You know who I'm talking about. I'm not going to give him any acknowledgement by saying his name. But you know, because you got a little thing on your channel. He came up in here and everybody, let's take this out. Brother Doobie told me, but if you got a rant in in the chat room, you know what to do, and you know what my policy is on these kind of individuals. Get rid of them. Period. I got rid of him. I'm not gonna say his name. His name. They want attention by us saying their name. Well, guess what? I'm giving the nobody nothing. He's Black and he's out of here. Take yourself elsewhere. Nobody. You think you're missing. And if you make a video about me, thank you. Thank you very much. Nobody. All right. Let's see. Where were we at? I'm sorry to cut you off, brother Guy. I had to address this nobody. Let's see, brother Bakari, you want to add something? I'm gonna, unfortunately, as much as I want to keep this thing going, I got a little bit of a personal thing to do with my personal relations, if you know what I mean. You know, date night or whatever they call it. But if you want to add anything, go right ahead before I put an end to this, because I've got to go out and come back later on. We're gonna be on what Nala says tonight. I'm gonna be on her channel talking more about these kind of issues. But go right ahead, Brother Bakari. And I'm gonna let everybody run through. I'm gonna let everybody say their last words and whatever they want to touch on before we have an end. I hate to end this. I really do. This is fantastic. Go right ahead.
Okay, first I want to say liberation over litigation. You know, I believe in liberation. I believe us we ain't gonna liberate ourselves if you don't want to ever fight back. Now I'm gonna get back to the point of where they talked about about black women. Harriet Tubman freed more slaves than anybody. That's a black woman. When all them black men was out there doing that marching down in South Carolina, when that white boy, I never say his name, walked up in that church and killed those people. Black men out there marching, everybody marching. It was a black woman that climbed up that flagpole and took that flag down. When my daddy friend, Fannie Lou Hamer, set up in the presidential Oval Office, and John F. Kennedy asked her about guns, and she was like, yeah, I need a gun. I got my gun on me right now. It was the black men who was talking about don't fight back, who let them damn wicked beasts beat her, rape her, and beat her to death. The black woman has been the most loyal. And when you turn your back on the black woman, you turning your back on black people. My phone.
Okay, brother. All right, Brother Guye Nollywood, I want you to make your last statements too, brother.
Okay. All right. Just want to say thank you so much for having me on your show, my brother. I really appreciate it. This has been a really deep program, and the topics was very enlightening. And just wanted to say that only thing I gotta say is that we have to be focused, we have to be consistent, and let's keep it black. You know what I'm saying? Let's keep it black, and let's let them know that we're not going to submit. We're not going to compromise, and we you know this is you know this is serious. You know, we let our enemy know that we're serious, and we're going to do it for our ancestors that paved the way. We're going to do it for them, because revolution it won't stop. So as long as we let our enemy that we're not going to stop, one of us is going to have to submit. So that's the only thing I got to say on that.
Okay, let me go to Lion's Den. I want you to stay on with me near the end of the show too, brother, just to give you that acknowledgement. Let me go to Brother the Liberator, the Great Liberator. Make your last statements too, brother. Go right ahead.
All right. I just want to say, I enjoyed the discussion. Thanks for having me on information, man.
Anytime.
And ultimately it's going to take it's going to take time to actually deal with these issues. We've been dealing with this conundrum for the better part of 400, 500 years, and the reason why is because it's an extremely complex and complicated predicament to be in. We don't have a lot of choices. We don't have a lot of options, and there is no silver bullet. And personally, my personal stance on it is that it's something that's going to take an all of the above strategy. Another part of what I would like to think about when I talked about making white supremacy too expensive to practice is there is an avenue for anarchism. For anarchism to disrupt the system, and I think that we're actually better positioned right now in this generation, in this current time, to actually get something done, to actually disrupt the system of white supremacy that would eventually break it down. So I'll just end it on that.
Hey, brother, thank you for your statements. We'll have to get you back on, talk about some other issues.
Right.
I appreciate you coming over. I was trying to get you on earlier. I did send Naya a link, but she might have been either doing a stream herself or busy.
Yeah.
I'll see you with her tonight. Hopefully it goes well, God willing. Let me go right now to the sister on the panel, and let her bless us with some of her thoughts.
Okay, first I'd like to say, thank you, Mr. Information Man, for having me. I appreciate it. It was a great discussion. And before we go, I want to say that I don't want Black women to have taken anything that they've heard here today and feel like it's like they're the cause of anything, because that's so not true. We know there are a select few of us who have drank the Kool-Aid, and that's fine. We can expect to take some losses, but it is more of us who understand what is truly going on, and we can't let that small few overshadow the good. Period. Period. I'm all about that revolution, and as a woman, that's fine. I can be that way, and I can also be submissive to my man when that time comes. So I'm no different than any other woman. And that's all I got to say.
In the show, I'm going to pop up the beautiful thumbnail of Brother Muhammad and play our ending music tonight as we sail off into the sunset from this program. So go right ahead, Lions Den.
First and foremost, I would like to thank Brother Muhammad for coming to the show tonight. You preach the truth as usual. I like to thank everybody in the panel too that coming in to do the show. What's going on, ladies and gentlemen, and brothers and sisters, is that the problem with us is that we have so much self-connect. And what we need to do is unite. The thing of it is that we divide through religion, we divide through politics, but at the end of the day, we still brothers and sisters. So tonight we got to remember that no matter, at the end of the day, we need to unite. We can't divide. We cannot let the enemy come between what we're fighting for. And our fighting for is our freedom and our independence. And that's the problem. We need to go ahead and come together as brothers and sisters and fight for our independence. And that's all I have to say, Info. And I'm going to go ahead and talk and go ahead and move on to the chat room. I'm going to go ahead and do that right now.